And good morning. We are live. Hi, I'm your host, Sally Thibault, and this is the Isn't It Time Facebook Live show. Today we're talking what's holding you back, and isn't it time to release it? I hope wherever you are, you're good. As you pop on this morning, just say hi. Let me know that you can hear me on this absolutely glorious day. We have hit summer here on the Gold Coast. So the windows are open, walking this morning. Morning, Debbie. Morning, Donna. You guys are on time this morning. Morning, Jen. Oh, nice to have you here, guys. Nice to have you here. Morning, Jackie. Good to have you. Oh, isn't it just glorious here this morning? Oh, my gosh. Yes, all good. Terrific. Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Oh, my Lord. It was just, I think when I walked this morning at 5:30, it was like already 19 degrees. So I don't want to get lulled into a false insecurity just yet, but it's certainly nice to have the warmer weather here. We got some pretty big storms during the week. I slept through most of it. I did hear it kind of bashing up against the window, but it was way too late for me, or too early even to wake up. So let me know how you're doing today. I really want to get stuck into this topic today because it came up for a client of mine this week, and it's interesting, isn't it? Whenever something comes up and it has this kind of, I kind of go, oh, I think, oh, Sally, there's something you need to work on too. And she really had this aha moment on the call, and it was I loved what she said when she said it's the space between my thought and action that I hold myself back, and I thought that was very, very powerful. The space between thought and action when we hold ourselves back. So you come up with these great ideas that you want to do in your business, or you've set an intention, or you're going into a meeting, prepared to, I don't know, negotiate a salary or sign a new contract. And just at that moment, you can be, just hold that self back a little bit. This came up for me this week when I was quoting on a workshop for an organization, and I had this moment of what I was going to charge, and it was interesting. I sort of waited before I put my quote out because I wanted to just tap around that. Yeah, isn't it such a true statement, Donna? I know that space between thought and action. So I waited. I wanted to wait. I needed to kind of go there myself. What was really interesting is when I began to ask the different question that that I came up with an answer that I hadn't found before. So it's really interesting. And what I would like to do today with you guys on the call is kind of get underneath some of this, what's holding you back. There is a massive change occurring. And I truly believe this is the time. I've said it a lot. I know I say it a lot, but I've probably said it over the last 5 years or so. I really believe it's time for women to be stepping up into courageous feminine leadership. And we must do that from this place of strength without an agenda that we're running. Because when we run the agenda, hold on to the old stories, doesn't matter what you want to do. It doesn't matter all the intentions in the world. But if you're running an old story and it's still playing itself out, then it's simply you're taking one step forward, two steps back all the time. And you're seeing it play out. There was the Senate committee hearings in the US this week, which was, I don't know if you watched any of that yesterday, testimony from that woman. It's so hard not to cry. No winners, anybody in this story, but that going on. Plus we've got the Banking Royal Commission, and we're about to start the Commission into Aged Care. It's like there's a line in the sand that's being drawn about the way we've done things in the past. And so when that line is being drawn in the sand about changing the way we've done things in the past, then the possibilities for change, the possibilities for a better than we think possible outcome exist. And when we're looking at kind of, okay, what's the opposite that's going on with all this stuff that's happening right now? Hey, Lisa, good morning. What's the opposite that's playing out? You can see that there's just, it's almost like this clearing out. We're not going to put up with it anymore. You know, I'm mad as hell and I'm not putting it up with it anymore. Remember that show? What was that movie? News Week or News Course. You know, that guy was screaming, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. Anybody remember the name of that movie? Can't remember now. I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. That's, I think, what's going on. So opportunity exists now for us, for us to just look at this in a different manner. Look at what role we now bring to our own life. I've been listening a lot this week to a wonderful book, and I can highly recommend it. Let me get the name of it. By Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's on Audible, and it's actually, it's called Applying the Wisdom of the Ages. It's just one of those books that has arrived right at the right time. It's Dr. Wayne Dyer, Applying the Wisdom of the Ages. And it's where he talks about the path the people in the ancient times, you know, the sages of the past, the philosophers of the past, have created for us. And what's interesting is we just give it different terminology, sort of modern terminology. But what they were writing back then, you know, at the turn of the century, you know, 1700s, 1600s BC, was very similar to what we are going through now. And so it's about kind of understanding that for us as women in particular, the paths have been carved for us. And somewhere along the way, it's gotten a bit messy, but it's changing. It's changing. And I had a great conversation with a colleague during the week about what's happening in the kind of whole gender pay stuff. And that's a story. That's what I wanted to just mention. That's what I'm going to talk about next week. The show next week will be on why we don't ask for what we're worth. So if you pop that in your diary, highlight that. We're going to be talking about how to ask for what you're worth. And that's whether that be a salary, whether that be a position that you want, or whether that be in your own business, being able to ask for what. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week, how to ask for what you're worth. But let's get back to today's topic. We're going to be talking today about holding ourselves back. Now, women are absolute masters at this. We are masters at holding ourselves back. You know, playing nice girl. Not wanting to put ourselves out there, being concerned about what other people are feeling. Yeah. Time we ask what we're worth. Yeah, absolutely, Donna. And I've got to do some media on that this week. Let's hope that kind of takes off. But that's the show next week. Why do we hold ourselves back? So here is the question I'd like you to ask yourself. Not, you know, why am I holding myself back or what's holding me back, but I would like you to reframe the question and to ask, what purpose does holding myself back serve? I'll repeat that again. What purpose does holding myself back serve? Because it serves a purpose. You know, when my client said this week, I get stuck in that space between thought and action. We went on and kind of delved deeper into that. And it was amazing what came out about it. It wasn't fear. And it wasn't fear of being out there. It was actually something much deeper than that. And for me this week, it was deeper than that as well. It was something that kind of surprised me. And it's something I hadn't looked at before. So does the purpose of holding yourself back serve? How does it benefit you? There is a story you're running. And that story exists between the thought and the action. The story comes up in that space, that nanosecond between thought and action. So what's the story that you're playing out, and what is it that lives in that space? It's serving a purpose, otherwise you wouldn't keep doing it. It's serving a purpose for you. it's doing something for you. Now, for me, this week when I realized what it was, I was quite surprised. What it wasn't what I thought, as I said. And so when I was able to go back and kind of re-look at it, the next part of it was forgiving myself for playing out the story. So it was forgiving myself for playing out that story. Because what it was doing for me was supporting me in this purpose. So my playing small was supporting me in this story that had a purpose in it. And when I could forgive myself for that purpose, it's like the smoke cleared, the clouds parted, the heavens moved. And I've been unwell over the last couple of weeks. And that was all part of this. It was all part of this kind of turning inward, looking at what the story is, looking at how it served me. So what story are you still playing out? Light bulb. Love those light bulb moments, Donna. Yes. What story are you still playing out? And how is it serving you? Now, in all this time when we're holding ourselves back, it's about that the minute you have a thought, I have this great belief, then when you have a thought, you always will find a way to make it work. You don't have a thought, you don't have an idea, unless you also come with the way that you can plan it out. But we get trapped in that moment. So what I'd like to do today, we're going to do a tapping session on this. I'm going to do a little bit of a different tapping session on this. But I want you to, for the purpose of this exercise, is to just go inward with this, okay? How is my holding myself back, playing into this story I'm telling myself? And when am I going to let it go? When am I going to let it go? Because it's in the past. It doesn't serve you any longer playing out that purpose, playing out that story. You have at any given point in time the opportunity to change that story right here and now. You can do that right now. You don't need to keep playing this out. You know, whether that's your weight, whether that's your career, whether that's your business, whether that's relationships. What are you hanging on to for the purpose of being right? A little hint about what I found. Purpose of being right. Yes, isn't that interesting? What was the purpose of being right? Why I was hanging on to this? So let's do a tapping on this. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to ask yourself, what is the purpose of this? It's the story I'm hanging on to. And I want you to measure on a scale of 1 to 10 how strong that resonates for you. How strong it resonates. And where you feel it. So what emotion what comes up for you when you're thinking about why you've bought into the story, why you're still hanging on, what it's serving its purpose? Now, that's a really good question, Lisa. Do you have to work out what it is before you let it go? No, you do not. And that's the beauty of the subconscious. You do not. You can simply say, I intend to let this go, whatever this is. It's time. I'm drawing this line in the sand right now. And the other thing about this is to be very mindful of your thoughts, because it's like going to the gym. When you change an idea or change a thought, it's going to take you a while for you to kind of like reframe that thought. So it's like going to the gym. When you first go to the gym and you're working on a particular muscle, at first it's like uncomfortable and it hurts. So, and it's like, it's hard work, but you just keep doing it. So I always say, 30-day intention on it. But getting back to your point, Lisa, no, you don't have to know what it is. You just have to recognize, I know I'm doing this. I know I'm holding myself back. I don't particularly know why I'm doing it, but I see that it's serving a purpose for me in some way, shape, or form. And I'm choosing now to change the story. And part of this tapping we're going to do is forgiveness. So powerful. We have to do, when we talk about forgiveness a lot, excuse me, I've still got this little kind of cough. Oh, it's driving me crazy. It's getting better every single day, but boy, thank goodness for essential oils, I tell you. Just about used them all up because they certainly helped. Somebody said to me, did you go to the doctor about this? I went, no, I don't do that. I know what's brought this on. And when I'm ready to release it, it'll let go. Thank God, as I said, for essential oils. Man, oh man. And tapping. All right. And part of this is forgiveness. We talk about forgiveness a lot, but the power of forgiveness is also forgiving yourself. So it's forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to continue to play out the story. And, when you get emotional, oh, yeah, wow. Yes. Great. Donna, this is good. That's shifting it. Forgiving yourself. We're too hard on ourselves. Way too hard on ourselves. So this is what date is it? The 29th of the 9th, 2018. Oh, I love all the way those nines kind of work in there. Oh, hey, how cool is that? It's 2909 20, and then you put 1 and 8 together tonight. I love those numbers. Anyway, write down in your journal today, 29th September, line in the sand. I'm not playing out this story any longer. Not holding myself back. The world needs you really big time. We need courageous feminine leaders. Big time. And that doesn't matter what industry, what career, whether you're mom at home looking after your children, it doesn't matter. It's the call for this strong feminine leadership. Step up. How strong was that? I can't remember that woman's name that in the US, that Senate committee hearing yesterday. Stand there and share that story. Man, that took courage. That's what we need. More women to stand up. So, off my soapbox now. Let's do this. Let's do a tapping on it, shall we? Powerful. Here we go. What purpose does holding myself back serve? Okay, here we go. Even though I know I hold myself back, I know it's been serving a purpose, I'm ready to let it go. Even though I know I consistently hold myself back, and it's got a story attached to it, I'm ready to let it go. Even though me holding myself back has served a powerful purpose, but I'm ready to rewrite the story. Okay, here we go, tapping. It served its purpose. I know it served its purpose. I've held myself back so often. I know it served a purpose. I know it's attached to this old story. It served this purpose. It's an old story. But if I let it go, what's my new story? What is this emotion? Am I really ready to let it go? Am I ready to rewrite this new story? I don't know. Am I ready to give myself permission to rewrite the story? I don't know. This whole story, it served its purpose. Okay, just take a deep breath. What I want you just to be mindful of kind of memories just flying through. Okay? In tapping, you kind of got to get to the specifics if you can in order to release it. As we're tapping around on a generalized story, what I'd really like you to work on is getting really into it, because you'll just keep playing it out. And that takes time. It takes time, it takes stillness, it takes compassion. So now I want to do what we'll do a reframe one that give you an idea of how you can rewrite this now. Okay. So let's just go straight into it, shall we? Okay. Even though I have been holding on to this old story and it has served its purpose, I choose to move through it now and rewrite a new story. Even though I've been holding myself back, and I recognize that it's about an old pattern, a story that's held its purpose, I choose to forgive myself, even though holding myself back played into an old story. I choose to forgive myself and joyfully rewrite a new one. Keep tapping. I choose to forgive myself. I choose to rewrite this new story. This new story. I choose to write this new story. I choose to start today. I feel it's time. I choose to rewrite a new story. I choose to surround myself with love and forgiveness for this new story. Take a deep breath. I just want you to just stand in that for a moment, or sit in it for a moment. You can do the power pose if you like, which I love doing with clients. It's just the hands on your hips. And I want you to just hold that sense of writing a new story. What does that look like for you? What does it look like? The new story. How do you see yourself in the new story? Hold that, put an emotion around it. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, putting an emotion behind it. So what does it feel like for you, putting that new story in place? Just hold that space. All right. Let's take a deep breath now. Let me know how you feel. I'd love for you to check out, where am I? I have a whole range of new programs. I mentioned it on the email yesterday that I sent out. New programs that I'm launching in October, but you can have a quick look at it. I'm also, so there's 2 leadership programs. There's the Courageous Wholehearted Leadership Program, which is for corporations to work with organizations through lunch and learns or workshops. I've also got a Courageous Feminine Leadership Program that's for women wanting to step into their own leadership. What does that look like? If you're leading, what does that look? Courageous feminine leadership. What does it look like? We cover stuff such as uncovering your own unconscious bias, stereotype threat, how to ask for what you're worth. That's a whole thing all on its own. Talk about that next week again. How do you lead? What is your leadership style? You'll have a leadership style. How do you do that? So check that out. It's on the products. We also got VIP strategy days. So I'm opening up my diary for a couple of those. So if you're really ready to do this, pop on and have a look and let me know. You can just message me. There's a link there that takes you to all the products. I've got speaking engagements coming up this week where I'll be sharing the leadership style. Also, I am also launching a new EFT training program, and all the details are on that page as well. I have some details of that next week, which is really exciting. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, and you know the funniest thing? I want to share this with you because you're on with me and you're my friends. You're my friends. Since I've moved into this whole leadership, it's quite an incredible story how this all happened. Like, you're talking serendipitous moments. Holy cow. Serendipitous up to serendipitous. It was just stuff that came out of the blue. But since moving into this field, working in this area almost exclusively now, and helping women step into their own leadership, oh my goodness, the conversations have changed. The people, the stories I'm hearing. Wow. And we think we're an evolved nation. No, we're not. We are way behind. And when you're hearing individual stories of women in corporate challenge to step up and ask for money. Yeah, exactly, Donna, absolutely. When they're stepping up into this, wow, we have a long way to go. And so that's where I'm at the moment in working in this area. We've got for ours, not only for our daughters, but for our sons. This has to change. Many of us, as I was speaking to a woman yesterday, national news director of a big organization, and I said to her, we were talking about, men and how difficult it is and change, and I said, excluding the ones we've married. Yeah. Exactly, Lisa. Absolutely. That new Liz had an agenda of power structure. It's changing now. Yep. Absolutely. And it's still a lot of pain. I think there's still going to be a lot of pain we have to go through. And a lot of that's internal stuff. But as I was mentioning before, the thing that stopped me dead in my tracks was when I read the research article that said it's going to take 279 years for us to achieve absolute gender parity worldwide. It's not going to happen in my lifetime or my children's lifetime unless we do something about it. But this is not just for our daughters, it's for our sons, because they are growing up in a world that's rapidly changing in dynamics. So how do they fit in? What are the conversations our partners, our men partners, our husbands, the ones, the fathers of these children, need to now be having with their sons? That's what's important. It's not just the conversation you're having with your daughters. It's the conversations we're having with our sons. Really important, because they're growing up in a world that's going to be the same as it's always been. And so how do they fit? How do they find themselves in this rapidly changing world? How do they find their power? How do we not emasculate men, but empower them at the same time as we are empowering our girls? It's a changing conversation that has to happen, and it came up when I did the keynote address in Auckland. I had a man come up to me in tears, and he said, "I'm the CEO of an organization. I'm married, and I have daughters." And he said, "I'm going home to have a different conversation with my children." He said, because I didn't realize that this was going on, and I'm not going to have it go on for my children. That was a really powerful moment for me. And that's exactly what I wanted. We have to change the conversation for our sons and our daughters if we're actually going to make any change, and for them to see leadership for what it really is. This old style of bombastic, strong, white shirts, blue ties leadership is going. but it's going to take a generation to turn it around. So hop on. If you are interested in the leadership program, interested in having it into your organization, let me know. Let's have a conversation about it. You'll see there under that products all the programs that are running, including the new EFT for business leaders, and I'll be releasing information about that next week. How to use EFT for yourself in your leadership. If you're working in an organization, you're running a team specifically designed for you. Have a wonderful weekend. We are right at the top of the hour. Thank you today for this great conversation. And let me know how you go. Let me know how you go. Come on, we're going to change this. Let's get on with this. Just get on with this. I mean, the 29th of the 9th, the last day, we are playing into this old story. Have a wonderful, wonderful long weekend. Long weekend. Oh my goodness, yes. Somebody reminded me it was a long weekend. I had no idea. But I reframed it. I was on a call, one of my interview. I do 20 weekly interviews now. But yeah, that's right, Tracy. Yep, they're confused, and that's not fair. It's not fair. We want them on side with us. Absolutely. I have no idea what I was talking about then. Oh yeah, I forgot it was a long weekend. And the radio announcer said, "Well, you're not really with it. You're not living in the present moment." I said, "I have just this balanced life. I don't need to have public holidays." Good pickup. Anyway, my lovely, lovely friends, have a wonderful weekend. A long weekend wherever you are. It is a long weekend for you. And I will see you next week for the very, very important Facebook Live on how to ask for what you're worth. All righty. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk soon. You're welcome, Jackie. Bye, everybody. Bye for now.